Very special stone. It's yellow sapphire. May I show you? And then he came with a nice dark blue pillow, and then he had about 5, 6 yellow sapphires. And I saw, this is my stone. And then I said, I have a problem. Tomorrow my airplane goes. No problem, sir. Tomorrow I will come to your hotel and I will make a ring for you and you have everything. Yes, I brought it. But this is not the end of the story. Now it becomes funny. Well, you see it here. I wear it since 2000 and here in my 2004. And about 2 years ago, in between, I retired and I built a Stapatya Vedic house in Sri Lanka. I lived there in paradise. And one day, someone asked, where can I buy some nice stone? I said, I don't know. And then my driver said, oh, go to Galboka. And I went, my God, I have been here 12 years ago. And I went inside and they recognized me. And I said, my God, the stone Joe took me back to the place. It's really, it's not a story I expected to. But the stone is something, it's my experience, something very individual. I don't want to say that the stone, that you have to wait for the stone. Perhaps you can. But this is in Jyotish, because the advice to take some stone, it's a Jyotish knowledge. Yes. But there is something more about it, and it made my life very wealthy and happy.
Nice. As I mentioned a moment ago, if you're going to sit with a Jyotishi or a teacher or a therapist, whomever, there needs to be a resonance. Yeah. Okay. And there's going to be a resonance with certain foods we like and we don't like. Certain people we like and we don't like. And similarly, we'll have this with stones. And the old adage, or the old way of speaking, don't rush into anything. And so, don't buy a house, don't buy the first house you look at. You know, don't necessarily marry the first person you go out on a date with. Maybe it works. But it's something that we need to find the resonance. We need to find the resonance. My heart hurt for so long. Here are good meditators and people wanting to develop holistically, and they could not afford to buy, like the Indian pundits would say, if you don't buy this, your life is not going to reach its full potential. Oh, please. If anyone tells you that, again, stand up and walk out. I mean, that is the most stupid, not to mention insensitive thing to say. I used to have pictures of the most beautiful gemstones ever found on earth, and I would give them the gemstone that their chart would say. But before I did that, look at these pictures. What are you attracted to? What catches your heart? What catches your interest? And probably 8 out of 10 times was their stone. Their stone. And it was beautiful, and saying, until you can afford it, look at that. Feel it. There's a vibration here. There's a structure here. Drink it in. Feel it. Identify that vibration. And it'll have the ability to nourish or self-correct or bring into a better order. Because again, my one teacher said, here, bring the yantra, bring the picture, bring this. I'm going, fine. But don't buy that until you can pay next month's rent. You know, take care of the basics first, then maybe get a stone. Yeah. That's a great story. That is just, it's like someone had your name written on it, and they wanted to bring it around to let you remember the pleasure of it. That's really good.
Because this question about the palm leaves reminded me of this.
Yes, exactly.
And also, I'm also very skeptical about the offers in the world. I know many places that offer palm leaves and they want to make money with this.
I know.
If this is it is like that.
You do. And this is where you have to use what? The deeper recognition in the human heart that knows honesty and knows when honesty is not there. When honesty is not there, there's a cloud in the eye. Something is a little bit, you can see it manipulatively, or a cloud, something is there. Or you can hear it in the tone of the voice. You can feel it that way. So it's part of us being in tune with the subtle nervous system or the aura. And so leading with that. And so a stone is one of the possibilities that are going to be. Also in Jyotish, if you can't buy a stone, they have a mantra that is for a planet. One of the basic Sanskrit principles, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, please. I'm not pretending now. But they have the phrase nama rupa, name and form. If the proper Sanskrit word is said, this is created. This is the connection from the unmanifest to the manifest. And in that, there's a mantra for each stone. It's a mantra for each planet of that stone. And so the recitation of that also is to what? Become better friends with that energy. Learn how to work with it better. And so it's just a way of thinking. I want to ask a question, sir. When you hear me describe about that, about the potteries, what more do you want to say about it? What more do you reflect on it?
Als du die Geschichte mit den Palmblättern beschrieben hast, gibt es da noch etwas, was du noch darüber hinaus betrachtet haben möchtest, was wir noch nicht besprochen haben? Da muss noch irgendwas sein, irgendwas, was du noch nicht wissen möchtest.
Naja, ich kann mir im Moment noch nicht vorstellen, dass jemand über vielleicht hunderte Jahre weiß, wann eine bestimmte Person wiederkommt.
At the moment I cannot imagine how a person can know that after 100 or more years someone will come to this spot.
Okay. If I can pause right here. Pause right here. In the science of astrophysics or astronomy, we learn that the light coming to us can be 1 minute old, 1 year old, 1 billion years old. Okay. We've come to learn there's a sequence even in life. And these rishis, a fully enlivened human nervous system, filled with light, the light of knowledge, the light of God, the light of consciousness. In that place where I am, all this is that. In that place, it is before all time and after all time. All time emerges from that. So if one had the instrument of refined intellectual ability, they then would identify the sequence from this year, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. I mean, ideally we could say that. Practically, it stretches our brain.
And what language is the palm leaf?
Sanskrit.
You gave me a word practically. I have a very personal question about the...
Everybody close their ears.
Personal question to a Jyotishi. You need our birthday, our birth minute, our birthplace. So then you need some mathematics.
Yeah.
And it's a process. now my question,
Jetzt meine Frage.
do you, is it even better to see the person, or is it necessary to see the person and talk to him or her? I think,
Ich denke,
therefore it becomes personal. Without the radiance of a person,
ohne die Ausstrahlung
you can't really have a good information about the whole personality. So if you don't see, if you don't smell, if you don't listen, it's only some mathematics. You need this contact of dialogue, of conversation with the person, or not.
We have the words, the heart of a humanitarian and a poet sitting in that chair. Meaning, ideally, that is what we all are going to be finding our greatest comfort in. Then here's a personal aspect.
Yeah.
When I first began practicing, for 1 year, at that time I was 35 years old, I quit a highly secure, highly paid, highly lauded job to do something crazy like this. My father didn't speak to me for 2 years because his son no longer was the vice president of international marketing, you know? And so I sent him postcards. Every city, every country I worked in. I didn't see his flat for 20 years. I'd visit him, but always someplace outside that. When he died, I went to his flat. And on one wall, he put up every postcard I sent him. And at that moment, you know, if I had any doubts that my father respected me or loved me maybe, then I realized that something good was there. Just that. Okay. My first year of work, the average age of the person who came to see me, the average age was 79. It was between 76 and like 88. Why? I have no idea. I'm a man. I'm 35 years old. Here are my elders. They're educated and experienced beyond anything I'd ever be able to do. And I'm sitting and going, oh my goodness. Why would they want to come to, you know, I didn't even have one white hair at that time. Why would they want to come to a non-white person like that, you know? And so I learned a lot from them. And what made me smile was that at those ages, sometimes the woman would come and say, he just is not listening to me. You know, we hear that from around the world. Or he would say this, and I'm going, so I learned a lot about human beings. It doesn't matter our age, our education, our cultural background, what country we were born in. We're human beings, and we're wanting to be acknowledged. We want to be understood. We want to be respected. And we have the ability to offer that as an extremely wonderful gift to a friend or a partner, or not. Then, for the next 1 year after that, people heard about me, and so they wrote me letters. You know, back in the days where you had a postal service, they used stamps, and they sent you letters. And so they sent me letters. Mr. Johnson, we have heard from so-and-so that you could do this. And they would give me their data, no picture, no contact, no phone call, nothing. And I'd have questions, some questions. And I have to say, what is the word? Intimidating or insecure, or am I good enough to do this? I'm not able to watch the face. I'm not able to hear the voice. I'm not able to find the resonance. So what do you do? And in that year, I learned an amazingly good gift that I think we all have. I began to believe in myself. And here's the name. I have the name. Maharshi had told me name and form. Hologram, energetic, hologram in whatever way. And also with a surrendering heart. Please, dear Lord, let at least one thing I say be of some value to that person. And so for a year, I honed my skill to understand Jyotish in a non-visual, non-auditory way. And that was like leaning over the edge again and going, do I really comprehend it? Can I really do this? And so that was really a challenging year, a good year. And I received letters back saying, oh my goodness, it was like you were speaking to me. I'm going, I would hope so. I thought I was speaking to you. I thought, I don't know. But it really, then a different dimension opened up. A different dimension. And I've noticed that about every 1,000 people I work with, something opens inside of me. I'm more, something, whatever that is. I'm more aware, I'm more alert, I'm more present, I'm more capable. I can find that, or whatever it might be, but this is what the study of any Vedic science or Vedic practice will do. It will systematically unfold, not just unfold, we must do the work to connect it, which means we have to build neurons. We have to practice. We have to engage it. We have to see where it's strong, where it's weak, where it's good, where it's not. And I have read every Jyotish book translated into English. Every single one, every year. Every year. Oftentimes, multiple times. I put into a database everything that was said about a planet here or here or here or here from every one of these books. I call it the database of the seers. Just for me, I love the name. I made it. And so that's how I looked at a planet being balanced or not. It's not that you read in Parashara or the Bhrigu Shastra, this and this and this and this. You're going, this is what 40 different authors have said. And so you can see the strength or weakness, the balance or imbalance, and then you get a little bit more confidence. That was fun. It is fun. No doubt about it. But, dear, was that a nose scratch or did you have a question? At this lecture I just gave, this young lady, she would sit like this and she would have a little finger go up like this. I didn't know if she was having a spasm or wanted to ask a question. So I finally asked, is that a question? Is that a sign for a question? She said, anyway. Okay, well, listen, I want to thank you for coming. I love this. I love Jyotish. You can tell I have an excitement for it. And if you wanted to continue in speaking, please do. But I don't want to keep you from your family or something that you are really wanting to do.
Aber ich möchte euch jetzt nicht abhalten, bei eurer Familie zu sein oder was auch immer. I think people here, no one is kept from his family. Okay. Because they have come here anyway, either for the treatment or to learn about Jyotish. Okay.
And
may I ask?
Oh, please.
This is not a spasm.
In Jyotish, the sign and the house are identical.
In Jyotish sind Zeichen und Haus.
But in the Western astrology, as I know, the sign of the picture is bigger. The house has this determined sign. So it's different in the interpretation, and the planets are different in the position. But in the sky, in this astronomical measurement, the signs are different. I don't know, Pisces is bigger and Gemini is smaller. But in Jyotish, everything is identical. What is the truth, or what is
what is the truth?
Or what are you seeing? Or are you seeing something like Triguna you mentioned? It was said measures the pulse, but actually seeing something.
Yeah.
Von dem gesagt wurde, dass man ein Pulsgefühl
well,
hat, ganz andere Sachen.
You mentioned details that are really interesting, that in the Western astrology and the Eastern astrology, it's different. They have different starting points, you might say. In the Western astrology, they start on the vernal equinox, or the spring equinox, and that's the starting of the zodiac. And then at some point, the Vedic and Western were overlapped perfectly, but that happens not very often. It's something that it takes about 26,000 years for our planet to move around the galaxy. 1 year around the sun, 26,000 years around the galaxy. And so in the Eastern astrology, it is sidereal. It is connected to fixed stars in the universe. And so as years go by, the Western chart is going to be a certain number of degrees in advance of where the planet is. Like in the Western astrologer, right now, they would say that the planet Mars is in Sagittarius. But if you go out at night, you're seeing that planet Mars is in this constellation of Scorpio. It's physically in Scorpio. And yet they're computing it that it's in Sagittarius. Now, when I first began interest in astrology, because again, I love astronomy, I own telescopes, I give lectures, I'm an engineer, or was an engineer, and they're going, okay, they're telling me Mars is in Sagittarius, and I'm looking at it and it's in Scorpio. My brain couldn't comprehend.
You had this experience yourself.
Say?
You had this experience. You were looking at the sky.
Oh yes, I mean physically.
Physically,
Yeah. So in Western now they call something Ayanamsha. And Ayanamsha means the difference between the zodiacal placement of the Eastern and Western signs. Right now it's at 24 degrees and a few minutes difference. And in a number of years it'll be fully one sign ahead. Now, please hear me very carefully. I'm not saying Western astrology does not work. It's going that we're looking at those flowers, you see them at a different angle. I see them here. If we are doing our job of identifying placement and position, we're going to be describing those flowers accurately, whether it's Western or Eastern. That's the ideal. That's the ideal. And yet, it doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest, that you are going, the planet is over here in Scorpio and you're interpreting it being in Sagittarius.
Doesn't make sense, of course. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay, but the signs are different. Because I want
The
to understand, because
the zodiac.
the physical is different in size, and Jyotish is all identical.
Yeah, the zodiac, there's 88 constellations that we've identified around the zodiac. Okay, some of them are very large, like the Big Dipper, the Big Bear, or and some are very small, like Cetus, the whale is very small, but the bear is very big. There is Eridanus, a river that is going across the north and the south, and all these things. So in Jyotish they chose an equal house determination.
30 degrees.
Yeah, 30 degrees equal house. And then they probably did adjustments. Again, we have to be fair. The mathematics of West, mathematics of East. The Jyotish uses the nakshatras. And there's 27 nakshatras. There used to be 28. But they moved it out. So why? When? They don't say. They said they removed it some time ago. Probably bad behavior. I don't know. It's hard to say. And so there's 27 nakshatras. There's 4 divisions in each nakshatra. So there's 108 divisions around the zodiac. Now, did they do that because they have a tradition that 108 is a sacred number? Mathematically defined, I do not know. But in that, the precision of that is going to be going, rather than saying say you have a garage attached to your house, and you have a 1-car garage. You know where the car is. But if you have a 12-car garage, where did you park? In Jyotish, there's 108 parking spots. And so, more precisely, the planet is sitting there. And so, its ability to be functional. We are concerned about the functionality of a planet. When you travel the cheap airlines, you have these seats that are really narrow. You know, you're sitting like this. And is it comfortable? No. Is it cheap? Yes. But really not comfortable. Some planets, when they sit in a given nakshatra or a division of it, they're like this. Even if Jupiter, expansive and comprehensive and with all the higher mental faculties, but it's in a seat like this, that means the power of Jupiter is going to be not naturally able to be reaching its full potential. It's not malefic, not bad, but this is what the person needed. The universe knew that this was going to be a good and necessary challenge. So they brought the combinations this way. And in that, everyone is going to end up in the same place. Meaning, a place where we're happy, peaceful. We're going to be enlivened. I don't use the word enlightened because a lot of Americans, when they use the word enlightened, I can see in their eyes it's punishing to them. Because they go, I'm not there. I've been meditating 46 years and I'm not there. Maharshi said it's a 3-year plan. And so we have to watch how we even speak to ourselves. What we build as evaluating understandings, discrimination, viveka, the Sanskrit, the discrimination of understanding and growing from mindful activity to a Weisheit, a wisdom-based understanding. And so it's an equal house positioning, and with the nakshatras, somehow, it's complex. Yeah. And then, if I can tell you a story, please. I was working in Cyprus for about 2 months, a few years ago. Never in my life have I sat in the complete shade and gotten a sunburn. Sometimes it is so hot, the sun is so, honestly, you're in the shade and you're getting a suntan. Unbelievable. Okay, that's not my story. And the truth is, for a moment, because I said that, I lost the direction of my thought. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
What about Cyprus? Working in Cyprus?
Yeah, it was.
Cyprus. Greek part or Turkish part?
The Greek part. Yeah, at that time, you could not access Turkish part. I passed that story and hope to come back and save my dignity in a few minutes.
Comes by itself.
Oh.
Not thinking about it, it comes.
Yeah. Interesting. So...
You were working there?
Sam?
You were working there?
I was working in Cyprus, and again, I've been so lucky that in all these various cultures, and if I would rate the Cyprus families the Cypriot families are some of the most loving families I've ever seen in my life. More loving, more vital, more this than any other culture I've been in. And that's not saying anything about your culture, our shared culture, and because American culture is based greatly on the German culture. Where I lived, people from Munich came and started the city I lived in. And so we have all these qualities. I have all those qualities. But this is, where did that story go?
The city of Limassol, Paphos.
Paphos, and then go from Paphos all around the upper north coast. And that's where I lived in a little house for
Beautiful place.
beautiful, beautiful. And just to take a day and go into the monasteries.
Die Akasha-Chronik. Ist das mit den Palmen Akasha-Chronik?
Akasha, what's the second sound?
Akasha
Chronicle.
Akasha Chronicle, if this is identical with Palms. Mit den Palmblättern, ist das
Die höhere Bewusstsein, wo man diese Information herkriegt.
Is this higher level of consciousness where you can get this information?
Genau, und es gibt Menschen, die haben
Okay,
diese...
I understand.
There are some people who have
Akasha
access.
Record.
Yeah.
Record in Akasha.
Yeah. And so, Akasha, of course, when we learn, it is the most refined physical element.
Akasha ist das feinste physische Element.
When we read and study from the Greek, the Aristotelian four major elements, fire, air, earth, and water,
Feuer, Erde, Wasser und Luft.
there's a word that came from the Greek called quintessence.
Da gibt es ein Wort aus dem Griechischen.
Quintessence, that was the fifth element. But they don't talk much about that. And so, Akasha is the most refined physical level.
Die feinste
And
physische Ebene.
then in the subtle elements,
Und in den
non-physical, these subtle elements still exist.
existieren immer noch die subtileren Elemente.
So not only is Akasha accessed from a refined physical level, it is accessed at even a finer, subtle level.
Physischer Ebene erfahren werden, sondern auch aus feiner, subtiler.
And from that finer, subtle level, at that point, there's a major border crossing.
Gibt es eine Grenzüberschreitung.
You're no longer in time and space.
Dann bist du nicht mehr in Raum und Zeit.
You cross over into the fields of light.
Die Grenze in den Bereich des Lichts.
In the Mahabharata, the Puranas, they speak of lokas.
Ist das der Raum, wo man unter Umständen die Informationen bekommt, die allumfassend ist, also auch das, was in den Palmenblättern steht, ist aus der Akasha-Chronik.
Is this the space where you get all the information, even that which is written in the palm leaves?
Well, I like your thought. It makes sense to me.
Das macht Sinn für mich.
But you're asking a question that's bigger than me.
Das ist der Raum.
Du stellst eine Frage, die größer ist als ich.
But it makes clear.
Das ist mein Gedanke.
Yes, it's good. Your thinking is very good in this. Very, very good. Because in nature, there are distribution channels.
In der Natur gibt es Verteilerkanäle.
I have a pulmonary artery.
Ich habe diese Arterie,
It's distributing blood from the heart to the lungs.
die liefert das Blut von dem Herzen zum
I have a carotid
Ich habe die
going up into the brain.
Arterie zum Gedanken.
And so, nature has distribution channels.
hat auch ihre Verteilung.
And the Akashic level is one of the transportation storage levels
Transport, Lager und Lagerebenen.
where you build a building, you bring the raw materials,
Wenn du baust,
then they pick them up and begin to use them.
und dann fängst du
And at the Akasha physical and Akasha subtle, it's a delivery distribution point.
Akasha subtil ist ein Verteilungspunkt für die gelieferte Information.
Where the builders who read the blueprint then begin to distribute the more concrete material or products or atoms.
Materialien an ihren Bestimmungsort zu
Und
verteilen.
deswegen meine ich auch das mit den Wahlen.
Ja, das
Weil
passt
die
also.
Wahlen ziehen sich das aus dieser
She
Information.
feels that the whales work on that same level.
My heart dances with joy hearing you say that.
Mein Herz tanzt vor Freude, wenn du das sagst.
I would extend that even further. I'd say that every created being on this earth
Kreative Wesen auf dieser Erde,
is connected to that level.
auf dieser Ebene verbunden ist.
Yeah. And communication can be moved into and through every species, every form, if one is able to be functioning there. Primo.
Und das ist auch das, was wir Menschen mit der Kollektive, die kollektives Bewusstsein, ohne Sprache, denke ich.
And that is the same thing she says. She says this is where the humans are connected on the collective level.
Kollektives Bewusstsein, ohne Sprache.
Collective consciousness without using any speech.
Okay.
Sind wir alle
Yeah. But then when we talk about collective consciousness, that too has levels of collective consciousness. What you're describing is the integrated, high, harmonious level in which we're behaving politely, kindly.
Erhabenste Ebene des Bewusstseins.
Aber wie kann man das erklären? Ja, und ich wollte jetzt noch einmal.
This is how you can explain it. Yes.
Ja, und ich wollte jetzt noch einmal antworten, wenn wir als Menschen das nicht verstehen.
If we as humans don't understand this,
wie die Wissenschaftler, die am Strand stehen und sagen,
like the
woher
scientists
kennen die dieses
who are
Lied?
standing on the shore and can't explain why they are all singing the same song.
Dann ist das, wie du gesagt hast, weil wir nicht mit der Erde verbunden sind. Das habe ich durch deine Antwort verstanden.
Because we are not connected with the earth.
Das ist die Verbindung, weil du gesagt
This is
hast,
what I understood
die
from-
Wale
from-
sind in Resonanz mit der Erde.
Yeah.
Und wenn
Whales
ich
are
oder
in resonance with the
also
earth.
wenn wir nicht in Verbindung mit der Erde sind, dann verstehen wir auch die Tiere. So ist der Kreislauf.
Then we also cannot understand the animals.
Ja.
We cannot even understand our neighbors.
Ja.
Aber wir haben unsere Nachbarn nicht verstehen.
Genau. Ne? Das ist schon eine
Yeah.
Ja.
Yeah. And yeah, beautifully said.
And what about our angels who are with us?
Was ist mit den Engeln, die bei uns sind?
What about angels? A moment ago, I was mentioning that there are distribution centers
Das ist Verteilungszentren.
that the universe delivers to this galaxy,
Das ist das Universum,
the galaxy to the stars to the system of worlds.
Die Sterne den Welten.
And in any manufacturing plant, there's a plant manager.
Und in jeder Firma gibt es einen Direktor.
And so there are the people who actually then take the raw materials and put them in a sequence to bring about a desired result.
Setzen sie entsprechend zusammen, um das gewünschte Ergebnis zu produzieren.
The conversation about angels opens up an entirely new topic, of course.
Betrachtung der Engel wird ein völlig neues Kapitel geöffnet.
But we could simply say
Aber wir
that
können
they're part of nature's
dass
teams
sie ein Teil der Teams der Natur sind,
that systematically read the blueprint
die ganz systematisch die Blaupause lesen
and send the creative material sequentially in creation.
schrittweise in der Schöpfung versenden.
Then they have their team members
Dann
pick
haben
this up
Mitarbeiter, die das
to begin to step it down systematically into matter.
systematisch zur Materie wird.
And then matter back to energy, energy back to light, light back to being.
Energie und
So the engineers and builders, I think we can very comfortably say, belong to the orders of angels.
Bauer, können wir sehr gut sagen, die gehören in die Etage der Engel.
In the Sanskrit, we hear the word devata.
In Sanskrit nennen wir das Devata.
And if you read the literature, you know the name of Vishvakarman.
In der Literatur finden wir den Namen Vishvakarma.
Vishva, everything.
Vishva.
Karman, action, creativity. The architect.
Das ist der Architekt.
But the architect is being handed the desire of the owner to be creating and building what the owner wants.
Angewiesen nach den Wünschen des Besitzers zu bauen.
Then the architect works with the engineers and the builders and the interior decorators and
Ingenieuren und Raumausstattern
and so the angels are that.
und das sind die Engel.
And then just as
Genauso wie
we are inspired to become a nurse, inspired to become a teacher.
gerne eine
We're inspired to help uplift.
haben, die uns versorgt, oder ein Lehrer oder
And the same it is with the angels.
und dasselbe ist mit den Engeln.
That some are
Manche sind
realizing that in the divine organization there was a command.
es einen Befehl gibt in der
None of my creatures are to go out alone.
und da heißt es keines in meiner Schöpfung darf alleine raus.
They always are to be accompanied
Die müssen immer Begleitung haben,
so that they remember where they come from.
damit sie sich daran erinnern, wo sie herkommen.
I'm not sure which Purana that came from, but I'm sure it comes up now.
Ich weiß nicht mehr genau, in welchem Purana.
Yeah. And so each of us have our shoots
So
angle.
hat jeder unseren Schutzengel.
Whether you believe it or not,
Egal, ob wir es glauben oder nicht.
whether you accept it or not,
Egal, ob wir es akzeptieren.
there's always going to be a teacher in kindergarten overwatching the group.
Gibt im Kindergarten immer einen Lehrer, der die Gruppe bewacht.
And so yeah, we have them as guides,
Und die haben
companions.
als Leitfaden,
They're assigned to us before we are born.
als Begleiter. Und die sind uns vor der Geburt zugeordnet worden.
They are the first ones who greet us after we leave the physical body.
Und das sind die Ersten, die uns begrüßen, nachdem wir unseren physischen Körper haben.
When you have the near-death experiences related,
Wenn man nahe Toderfahrung hat,
they went through this tunnel ending in light,
die wissen, die sind durch den Tunnel gegangen.
and there was a brilliant divine being greeting them and embracing them and speaking to them.
Glänzendes, strahlendes, göttliches Wesen und hat sie in Empfang genommen.
At that time, with all genuine humility,
Mit einer echten
you should thank that angel for watching over you all your life.
Achtung sollten wir diesen Engeln danken dafür.
And they're there to make sure your next steps are clear and secured and confident.
Klar und sicher und bequem gehen können.
Ich habe eine Frage. Wechseln die auch mal die Engel oder ist es immer der gleiche?
If the angels
This
are
ought to be
changing,
good, please.
Do they sometimes change or does the angel always remain the same?
The guardian, the shoot angle, always remains the same.
Der Schutzengel bleibt immer derselbe.
Yeah. So just a minute. Keep that question. Just 1 second. I want to tell you all something. Okay, right now in this room, how many humans? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 humans.
Wir sind
Okay.
13 hier im Raum.
Unless there's, someone I can't see. There are 23 angels in the room
Und es befinden sich 23 Engel hier.
that are intimately connected and assigned
Ganz eng verbunden und
to us, to you all.
zu uns allen.
And interesting.
Und das ist
And yeah, there's enough chairs.
genügend Schüler.